Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Good. I can't see anyone, which is strange. And also my video is running very slowly, which is also strange and annoying. Let me just rejoin the class because it's very bad. There's a very bad signal right now. I'll be back in 1 second. I'm just going to rejoin.
Now, yes.
Hello.
Yes, now it's okay. Hello.
Can people hear me now? Please say yes.
Yes.
No? Yes. Yes. Okay. Hopefully we're not going to have the same issue that we had yesterday. Nice to see you guys, Roman, Hazel, and Inga. And Roman, did you become a woman?
No, I made a family account, and sometimes my wife take part in verbally classes. So. But now I'm here.
Okay, nice. Because we had another student who changed names yesterday that confused me. Hazel and Ing, should I call Igor Michael or Igor? I'm very confused. Very strange.
As he wants Michael, so probably we have to say him Michael.
Okay. He has a very interesting sense of humor.
Yeah.
I would find it very strange if people called me by a different name, but maybe he's hiding from the government.
Maybe.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you for coming, guys. We've got a lot to get through today, so we should probably jump straight into it. Let me just share the link with you to the slide prepared on the passive at Inga's request. So Inga, please ask any questions that you have and make sure you understand everything. And I will. Apparently, verbing chat is broken again.
Yes, please.
Yes, it
Could
doesn't
you
work. Please
paste it in Google Chat?
But the engineers, I've been told, are working on it around the clock. So hopefully it will be fixed very soon. So it's in the Google chat, if everyone can click on that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I will, actually no, we've all got excellent pronunciation, so we should do some reading amongst ourselves, I think, as well. Okay, so it's full class for now, which is good for you guys, because it means more practice. Let's get straight into it, talking about the active and passive voices. I've split this into a few sections, and then at the end of each section, there are some exercises to test what we just learned. So we will start with the first section, which is just defining or making clear the difference between the active and the passive voices. Roman, would you mind reading the first page to us down to just to the bottom of the first page, basically.
Bottom of the first page. Okay. So, active and passive voices. Definition. Compare these sentences. He built his museum in 1846. Active. This museum was built in 1846. Brazilians speak Portuguese. Portuguese is spoken in Brazil. The nanny is taking care of our baby tonight. Our baby is being taken care of by the nanny tonight. This film will change your life. Your life will be changed by this film. When A does something to B, there are often two ways to talk about it. If we want A, the deer, to be the subject, we use an active verb. Bill speak is taken care of. This is the most common voice. If we want be the receiver of the action to be the subject, however, we use was built, is spoken, is been taken care of, will be changed. The subject of an active verb.
No, the object.
Okay, the object of the active verb corresponds to the subject of the passive verb. Active. He built this museum in 1846. Passive. This museum was built in 1846. Most of the time, the subject of an active verb is not expressed in the corresponding passive sentence. If it does have to be expressed, this usually happens in the expression with by the noun is called the agent. For example, this museum was built in 1846 by Christopher Wren.
Okay, that's fine. That's very good, Roman. Okay, so does everyone understand everything there? At the beginning, we have a few different examples of active versus passive with different tenses, because of course these are not tense dependent. You can have active and passive in any tense. And then just a bit of explanation about why, what it means to use the passive and what it means to use the active. So if A is doing something to B, then if A is the doer, we want to emphasize that, then we use the active tense, right? Someone is building something, or someone built something. But if we want the something to then be the subject, then we use the passive. We say something was built or is being built by, if necessary, by someone else. But we don't always include by, because we're not always interested in the subject of the verb, right? Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes.
Everything we read? Yeah? You sure?
Yeah.
Roman, I know you're reading, so it's hard to always follow along while you're reading, but having a look at that, does that make sense to you?
Yes. Maybe it wasn't understand for me, because it's quite difficult to me read and understand at the same time. But I know it's a subject, and today I want to refresh my knowledge about it.
Okay, excellent. So here you see active and passive, and then you see he built this museum, right? That's the object of that sentence, because the museum is being built by him. And then if you want to emphasize something about the museum, then you can make that the subject, and then you start the sentence with the museum, or this museum was built in 1846. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
good. So now let's just do some practice on that. We have 10 sentences, and I'd like you to tell me which one of these are active and which one of these are passive. Okay, it seems simple, and the first few are simple, but then it gets a bit more difficult after that. So the first one, lots of houses were destroyed. Roman.
Passive. Oh, sorry.
Okay, it's okay. Let's start off. Let's keep going left to right. Okay, so we'll start with Roman, then Hazel, then Inga, Roman, Hazel, Inga, like that. Okay. So Roman.
Lots of houses were destroyed. Yes, it's passive.
Excellent. Okay, Hazel, the next one.
He lost his keys yesterday. Active voice.
Very good, because he is losing the keys. If I was to say the keys were lost by him yesterday,
Then
that
would
passive.
be passive voice, yes.
Mm-hmm. Inga, how about the next one?
The grapes are grown in California. Yeah.
That's the sentence, yeah.
It's passive.
Why?
Because are grown.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. No, that's fine. I mean, I'm being a bit picky, but you're absolutely right. The grapes are grown. It's not the case. It's not the case that someone is growing the grapes, but the grapes are grown.
I understand passive and active sentences. I don't know how to make them.
Make them more. We're coming on to that. We're coming on to that. But also,
Okay.
it gets a little bit trickier. So we'll see if we understand them all. But hopefully, we will.
Okay.
The party has already started. Roman.
I think it's active.
Yep, it is. The party has started. Yeah, there's no reason that shouldn't be active. If it has been started, then it's the different thing, right? But if it starts, then it's an active voice. Okay, Hazel, the car is sitting in the garage.
It's active. The car is sitting in the garage is active voice, I think.
Yep, because the car is the subject and it's doing the sitting.
Yes.
So it doesn't need to be continuous passive. Okay.
Present continuous, the tense.
Yes, precisely. Inga, the next one. The police didn't find the robber last week.
The police didn't find the robber last week. This is active.
Yep, very good. Roman, the first fast food restaurants were opened in the early 1900s.
It's a passive voice because were opened. We use were opened.
Yes, exactly. They were opened, presumably by someone else who was the subject of the verb open, but we don't always need to know. Or sometimes we're just not interested.
Can I offer something?
Of course.
Maybe it will be funny when we can try to make the sentences inactive or passive. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes, but in this case, we can't make it active unless we have a subject, right?
Yes.
So we need a subject to send. So if we said the fast food restaurants were opened in the early 1900s by Ronald McDonald, who didn't know, use an example, then we can say Ronald McDonald opened the first fast food restaurant in the early 1900s.
So
but unless we have a,
or they open the fast food restaurants in the early 1900s.
The first fast food restaurants opened yeah, you can say that as well. So open can be used in different senses. You can open and it can take an object, or it can just be used as like a stative verb, which just means to open, right? Something can open or close, or someone can open something or close something. So Hazel's absolutely right. If you use open in a stative sense, where it's just a state of something opening, then you can definitely use the active, because then the fast food restaurants can be the subject of the verb to open, right? But you understand, the fast food restaurants can't open something else. They just open themselves. It's like a reflexive verb in a way, because it's happening to the subject. Does that make sense?
Yes.
yes.
Okay, good. The train is going to arrive late. Active or passive?
The train is going to arrive late. Active.
Yes, that is correct. The next one, Inga?
The search will be stopped because of the storm. This is active.
Are you sure? I said they would get a bit more difficult, didn't I?
Okay. This is passive.
Yeah.
I don't have any options.
Because the search is the receiver of the action, right? Someone else is stopping the search. We don't know who. Whoever's, the lifeguard or whoever. But the search is the one that's being stopped. So, and now we've made that the subject. So the search will be stopped. So actually it's passive, this one. The search will be stopped because of the stop. We're going to find out exactly how you can recognize them very easily, because this has, you can see the verb to be here, and that's often a good clue that you're in a passive. If you have the word to be and the past participle, then you've got a passive. So the very last one here, Roman. Sorry, you sound very similar.
The friends have been looking forward to meeting her. I think it's active, yes, because we have the present perfect continuous.
Exactly. You have present perfect continuous, precisely. So you do have the verb be, but there's not a past participle. That's the present participle here. So the friends have been looking. The friends are the ones who are performing the action of looking. Looking forward to meeting her. Perfect. Okay, great. So now we're going to do a little bit on the formation and then some more practice. Hopefully Inga will get to the sort of problem areas that you're talking about. Hazel, would you mind reading down to the next exercise section?
Okay. The structure of the passive voice is very simple. Formation: subject plus auxiliary verb be plus main verb past participle. The main verb is always in its past participle form.
So now you can just read, you don't need to read the middle column because this is just the sort of technical side. Just read the tense and then give an example of the passive with that tense.
Okay. Simple future: the mouse will be eaten. Future perfect: the next president will have been elected by the time you wake up. Simple present: the dishes are washed. Present continuous: lives are being improved. Present perfect: the outcome has been decided. Simple past: we were told yesterday. Past continuous: the boy was being teased. Past perfect: his feelings had been hurt.
Excellent. Okay, so this is the most common example. There are some conditionals, right? Right now in the exercise we're going to do some conditionals as well, but the table will be too long to list every possible type of the tense. So I've just put the main ones here, and the rest you should be able to figure out because obviously the conditionals are linked to the main tenses a lot as well. It could be like a conditional perfect, for example, or a present conditional. So you should still be able to be helped by this table. So use this table now in the next exercise. Sort of look at try and figure out what tense we're talking about, and then if necessary, use the table, and then I want you to rephrase the sentences in the passive. Okay, and so I've just picked like a bunch of different tenses, and we're gonna practice now doing the passive in all of these different tenses. Okay. So number one, they were into who finished? Who did the last one on the last? Who did the last?
I was. I understand. I was.
Okay, very good. By the way, Nihan, are you in the class now?
Yeah, I'm here, Zach.
Nice to meet you. Where are you from?
Thank you. I'm from Turkey.
Turkey, excellent. Well, welcome to the class. Have you managed to follow along? Have you got the document up?
Yes, Inga sent the document. Thanks to Inga.
Inga's very good like that. Okay, good. So we're going along from left to right, and everyone takes one sentence to practice. In this case, turning it into a passive sentence from an active one.
Okay.
So we'll start off with Hazel because Roman finished last time, and then we'll keep going left to right. So they were interviewing her for the job.
They were interviewing her for the job. So I have to rephrase with active voice.
No, this is the active voice.
They were interviewing. Yes.
Remember, they are doing the interviewing. So now we want to turn it into. Yeah.
She was interviewed. She was being
Yes.
interviewed for her job. Is past
For the job.
Past continuous, yes.
Very good. Yes, past continuous. She was being interviewed for the job. Excellent. Inga, do you want to try the next one?
Tom is writing the letter. This is present continuous. And the letter is being written by Tom.
Perfect. The letter is being written by Tom. Very good. Present continuous. Now, Nihan, do you want to try the next one? Everyone understands English.
Okay. English is understood
Excellent.
by everyone.
Excellent, yes, because everyone is the agent. So if we want to include the agent, the subject, then you have to use by. So English is understood by everyone. Just like Inga said a moment ago, the letter is being written by Tom. Okay, the next one. She will have eaten her entire meal by the time he arrives. It's a bit harder. Let's see if Roman can do it.
Maybe.
Remember, you're trying to identify the tense first, and then you use the table to help you if you need it.
I think it's future perfect.
That's right.
Perfect. But I can understand object here. It's maybe okay. Her entire meal will be
No.
no.
Almost. Look at the table.
Just a minute. Let's look. Will have been. I see.
Yes.
So her entire meal will have been eaten by the time he arrives.
Yeah, perfect. She will have eaten her entire meal by the time he arrives. Her entire meal, which was the object before, now becomes the subject. Her entire meal will have been eaten by the time he arrives. Okay? So it will have been plus past participle. Remember, we're always taking the auxiliary, the verb to be, and then you take the appropriate conjugation depending on the tense. Okay, so it will be, will have been, am, are, is, and then the past participle. In this case, eaten. Okay, the next one. The professor told him not to talk during the class. Hazel.
It's past tense told, so the object is him. Now it must be the subject. He was told by the professor not to talk during the class.
Excellent. Very good. He was told by the professor not to talk during the class. Inga, they say that women are smarter than men. I don't know if it's true, but that's what they say.
Anyway, it's flattering for us.
Yeah. Right now, in this class, the men are outnumbered 3-1 by the women, so Roman has something to prove. Do you want to give that one a shot, Inga? Take your time. Sorry, I don't mean to rush you.
I would say
It's a bit harder, this one.
women.
Sorry, say that again. Sorry, Inga, you cut out. Say one more time. Can anyone else hear?
I cannot hear Inga.
Oh, okay, but you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh no, she lost her connection. That's unfortunate. I'm going to leave that one, so I'm sure she'll come back in. We'll go to the next one, and then she can have that when it comes back. She comes back, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so let's do the next one, Nihan. The fire has destroyed the house. This one should be easy.
Yeah. The house has been destroyed by the fire.
By the fire, if you want to include that, yeah. Very good. Is Inga now back? Inga, can you hear us? Nope. Okay, Igor, the next one. Sorry. Roman, the next one. She would have.
It's tricky one because she would have told you. She would have told you. I don't know. Is it future?
So let's look at it this way. What's the object of the sentence?
She would have told you. Object?
Yes. Who is being told?
She told.
No, who is being told?
You.
Okay, so that now becomes the subject.
Yes, but I don't understand this time. Is it would have told you? I think it's
conditional perfect.
It's conditional perfect.
Yes. So if you look at past perfect is the closest you'll find in the table.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Present perfect.
What?
If you look at the table, present perfect.
Yes.
And then put would in front of it, basically.
Present. Yes, I understand, but I don't understand why we use here would. Would
Well, you're saying she would have told you. It's a conditional. Like if something had happened, she would have told you. But you weren't around, so she didn't tell you. But she would have told you if you were next to her or something. That's why you would use conditional perfect.
So we here we have to use present perfect. Yes.
No,
Okay.
you stick to the tense. You still want to use, Inga, we're coming back to you in a second. You still want to use conditional perfect, but you're just turning this into a passive now.
Yes, I understand. But she would have told you.
Yes.
You.
So to do the conditional perfect, you're adding would before the present perfect.
Okay, you would have been. You would have been told
Yes.
by her or her.
Perfect. Yep, very good. That's exactly right. You would have been told by her if you had not been on the toilet or something. Okay, good. She would reject the offer. She would reject the offer. Hazel, do you want to try that one?
Okay. The offer would be rejected by her.
Excellent. Very good. And now, Inga, you can get to do 2. It's your lucky day.
I'm sorry.
No, you picked one. You pick one up from when you dropped off, and now you have another one. So you decide which one you want to do first.
The previous one, did I do correct?
Unfortunately, we didn't hear.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sorry. They say that men. I said that I think women said smarter than
Sorry,
men.
you cut out again, Inga. Start again. Women.
Oh my God.
Sorry, it's okay.
Women say are be smarter than men. Smarter.
Try again. Women. How do you turn say into a passive? It's a present, right? It's a present. Simple present.
Women are being.
So look at the table. It says this is a simple present, right? They say that women. So look at the table. If it's simple present, then am, are, is, and past participle. So women. Women, and what does the auxiliary have to be? If it's women, it's plural, right? So women
Are.
Yeah, that's right. It's women. Women are
And past participle to
say.
verb say.
Yeah.
Are said.
You want to give it a shot? Yeah. It's a difficult one. It's not an easy one.
I'm sorry. I'm very nervous.
That's okay. Don't be nervous. It's a tricky one.
I've joined your class today in very extreme conditions, so I can't concentrate on the subject.
Because very extreme conditions. Is everything okay?
With me, yes, but
Okay.
not with other environment. Okay, sorry.
If you have to, Inga, I know this is sort of for your benefit, but everyone's benefiting from it. So if you do have to go at some point, don't feel guilty or anything. I'm not going to be upset.
No.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
Women are being.
It's past participle.
Okay,
Past
sorry.
participle to say. That's okay.
You tell, okay.
Hey, Hazel, do you want to try this one?
Yes, women are said to be smarter than men.
Very good. Yeah. Women becomes the subject, Women are said to be smarter than men. Sometimes you say to be smarter. In this case, it's just the right way. Women are said to be smarter than men. You have to use the infinitive there of to be, obviously. Okay, do you want to try the second one? This surprises me.
Yes, I was surprised by this.
No.
I am surprised, sorry.
Yeah, very good. I am surprised, or I am surprised by this, if the this is the agent, as we call it. Okay, very good, very good. Okay, cool. So now we've seen the different tenses that we can use the passive in. It gets a little bit tricky in some cases, but it all comes with practice. Now we're going to talk about the right times to use the passive, because sometimes you might be confused. Should I use a passive here? Should I use an active? Which one is more appropriate in this case? So, Inga, would you be able to read this, the next section?
I hope.
I'm sure you can.
Okay. We use the passive when we want to make the active object more important. We do not know or are not interested in the active subject. A sentence has a longer or heavier expression, which often goes at the end of a clause. We wish to keep talking about the same person, thing, in which case it may be necessary to switch between active and passive.
Okay, so I should put use at the top. Okay, do you want to read the lines from the table now?
Should I read this table?
Yes. Yes, please. It's not that big.
Give importance.
So you can just say, for example, use number 1, and then read the sentence afterwards.
Use number 1 is give importance to an active object. The light bulb was invented by Thomas Edison. Active object is my car was broken into.
We're not interested in that, or we don't know who.
Yeah, broken.
Yeah, or you could say, for example, the pyramids were built in 1200 BC. We don't really care about the fact the Egyptians built them. We know the Egyptians built them, but we don't care. We're not interested, so we're just talking about the pyramids. Okay, and the next one.
Putting heavier expressions at the end. I was annoyed by Josh wanting to tell everyone what to do.
Yes.
Keeping the same subject. He waited for 2 hours, then he was seen by a doctor.
Okay. So you can say you start off, it's a bit strange there because I couldn't format the table very well, but you see that it switches there between he waited and then he was seen, and then if you can continue and say, and then he did this, and then something was done to him. But if you want to clean the same subject, depending on different, the way you're talking about it, things might be being done to him versus him actually doing them. So then you have to use the switch between the passive and active in those cases. Okay. It's because you cannot say, he was taken up the stairs. You could say he walked up the stairs, but it's more natural to use the passive in those cases. Okay, sorry, carry on, Inga.
It is important to remember that not all verbs have passive forms. Passive tenses are impossible with intransitive verbs, for example, like die, sleep, arrive, etc., which cannot take objects. If a verb cannot have an object, there is nothing to become the subject of a passive sentence. In addition, some transitive verbs, known as stative verbs, verbs that refer to states and not actions, are rarely used in the passive. For example, fit, have, lack. The dress does not fit her. He has a nice car. The tennis player lacks skill.
Okay, not skill is lacked by the tennis player. Okay. Good. Okay, so the next section, does everyone understand that, the bit that we just read? The bit about transitive and intransitive is not so important, but it helps with edge cases that are a little bit tricky.
Zaid,
Okay. Yes.
could you please explain the last one, keeping the same subject? It's not clear for me.
Okay, so if you want to, sometimes if you're telling a story, for example, and it's a story about a person, so Bill, I'm telling a story about Bill, and I want to say a few things that happened to Bill, or a few things that Bill did, then I have to keep Bill as the subject of the story. Okay? So if the doctor, for example, if he goes to the hospital and the doctor gives Bill an injection, I might say, Bill goes to the hospital, this is active, and then instead of saying, Bill goes to the hospital, the doctor gave him an injection, which I can say, that's grammatical, but then I'm losing Bill as the subject of the story. Do you understand? So it might be better to say, Bill goes to the hospital, he was given an injection by the doctor, then he did this, then something happened to him. Do you understand? It allows you to keep the same subject through the story. Because otherwise, if something is doing something to Bill, but I want Bill to be the hero of the story, or the main subject, then I should say something happened to him rather than someone else did something to him, because then I have to bring another subject into the story, which I may not want to do.
Okay, I understand now. Thank you.
Make sense? Okay, good. Okay, so it's like a stylistic thing, I think, is the best way of looking at it. But the most important of the two beginning usages, that when you want to make the active object more important, or we don't care about the subject, we just saying something happened to something else. It doesn't matter who did it, or we don't know who did it. So then we'll use the passive.
Okay.
Okay. Now this is probably the trickiest section of thing, and so we've learned most of the important stuff to do with passives. Inga, you feel like it's becoming a bit clearer? Maybe.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
Sort of. If there's a particular aspect of passives that you want to go over or you don't understand, just let me know. Maybe this last section is one of those, so we'll see if it gets a bit more complicated here, but not massively. But let's give it a go and see how we get on. So verbs with two objects. Nahin, is it your turn to read, I think? Nihan, sorry, not Nahin. Terrible with names today. Sorry.
Verbs with two objects. There are many verbs like give, send, show, lend, pay, promise, refuse, tell that can be followed by two objects, an indirect object and a direct object. These usually refer to a person, indirect object, and a thing, direct object. Two structures are possible. Should I continue?
Yeah, read everything to the exercises. Yeah.
Okay. The first one, verb plus indirect object plus direct object. For example, he showed the teacher his homework. The second one, verb plus direct object plus preposition plus indirect object. For example, he showed his homework to the teacher. Both of these structures can be made passive.
Can we just stop for a second? Because everyone clear about these two structures, right? He showed the teacher his homework. The teacher is the indirect object because she's just the one whose homework is shown to, but the homework is the direct object of the verb to show, right? You show your homework. That's what you're showing, so that's the direct object. And the teacher is the one who's receiving the homework, so she's an indirect object. Everyone understand that difference?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah? I can never tell if silence means yes or no.
Yes. Indirect object answers to the question to whom, I think.
To whom is it done? Yes, exactly. Correct. It's the best way of looking at it. And sometimes you in certain cases you use the preposition as well. In the second case, he showed his homework to the teacher. Okay, but sometimes you can omit the preposition as well, like in the first example. You would not say he showed to the teacher his homework. No.
It's incorrect to say he showed to the teacher his homework.
Yes. Yeah, you would have thought it's correct. I'm trying to think why it's incorrect. It's incorrect because you have to have, I think it's because you have to have the indirect, if you have a preposition, it has to be preceded by the direct object, right? Okay. So it's the direct object to someone else. His homework to the teacher. Okay, you don't show to someone. You can never have them together. You have to have, show to the teacher. You have to have direct object directly before the preposition, because that's what's being shown to someone. Okay. If you say he showed to the teacher, then his homework shouldn't come after, because his homework, it's just the grammatical structure. His homework is shown to someone. So you can't say he showed to the teacher his homework. Okay? Okay. I think that's just the rule. Okay, so both of these structures can be made passive. Nihan, can you finish this section?
Okay. One, indirect object becomes the subject of the passive verb. For example, the teacher was shown his homework. And two, direct object becomes subject of the passive verb. His homework was shown to the teacher. The choice between the two passive structures may depend on what has already been said, or what needs to be put last in the sentence. The first structure is more common of the two. For example, I've been sent a lot of letters this year, or we will never be told the real truth. How much have you been offered?
Excellent. Okay, so Hazel, you see in the second example, it says his homework was shown to the teacher, right? In this case, it looks like the direct object does not come directly before to, because you're putting was shown in there. But that's the point of this. That in a way, you can see that the direct object becomes a passive. His homework was shown is, in a way, is the whole direct object, right? His homework was shown to the teacher.
But it's indirect object to the teacher, because it's to in front of the teacher, I think. At least in my language, it's an indirect object to the teacher. To whom?
The indirect object is yes, I'm not disagreeing with that. To the teacher is the indirect object, right? But I'm saying his homework it still comes before the indirect object. That's my point. The direct object must always precede the indirect object. Earlier you were asking, why can I not say he showed to the teacher his homework? In that case, direct object is after the indirect object. So you can't, if you're using the preposition, the direct object must always come before. That's my point. If you use a preposition with an indirect object, the direct object has to come before.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's okay, because he showed the teacher his homework. The indirect object can come before the direct object. But if you use a preposition, then the direct object must come before. Okay, so in this case, number two, you see his homework, the direct object, was shown to the teacher.
But number one isn't a bit strange? The teacher was shown his homework. Is used to
Yes, that's perfectly fine.
Yes?
Yeah, you're making the indirect object the subject.
It sounds strange to me, the first sentence.
Well, okay, why does it sound strange? I'm trying to...
No. Well, the teacher was shown his homework. So somebody showed his homework to the teacher. This is the idea of this sentence. Is it?
He showed the teacher his homework. No, you can say, yes, that's the idea. He showed his teacher the homework, or he showed his homework to the teacher. But the point here is that if you want to make these active structures passive, then remember you have to pick the object that then becomes the new subject. And the point here is that if there's no preposition involved, then it's the indirect object, it's the teacher that must become the subject. The teacher was shown his homework. But if you want to keep the preposition, then his homework was shown to the teacher. Then the direct object becomes the subject.
In casual speech, the native speakers use that way?
Both ways. If I say he showed the teacher his homework, I can say the teacher was shown his homework. But if I can say his homework was shown to the teacher. It depends what you want to emphasize. Do you want to emphasize the teacher or his homework? What's the important thing? If I want to say the teacher, then I can just say the teacher was shown. If I want to say his homework, then I have to switch to number two and say his homework was shown to the teacher. Okay. And then to make the active version of that, he showed his homework to the teacher. Okay, but that's not important if you're trying to make it passive. Does that make sense? Sort of. Let's do some practice, and hopefully it'll be a bit clearer.
Yes,
I've included,
we'll see at the exercises.
yeah, we'll see the exercises, exactly. Okay, so the first one, Rachel will give you some advice. Who are we on at this point? Does anyone remember who went last? No? Okay, let's just pick Roman. I haven't heard from you.
Okay, so I have to make with I have to do with sentence in passive, yes?
Passive, yes.
Okay. Russell will give you some advice. Advice will be given by Russell.
Some advice will be given by Rachel. Actually,
It's okay.
yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Some advice will be given by Rachel. But what else could you have as well?
Maybe if you want to emphasize you, how
Yes.
can you?
Go, give it a go. Try it.
Some advice.
If you want to emphasize you can be made the subject.
You will be given
You will be given, yeah.
some
you,
advice by Rachel.
by Rachel. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. So some advice will be given. Actually, what did you say to begin with, Roman?
I said that advice will be given by Rachel.
To you.
Yeah, exactly. But if you in fact, strictly speaking, you can say that, but then you have to say to you, right? And then you're introducing the preposition. So that's an example of the second structure. So that's why, in fact, it's correct if you say to you. That's why I didn't say it was incorrect. But in this case, because we don't have the preposition, we're just trying to turn this phrase into the passive. So it can have the same meaning, but because if we don't want to introduce the preposition, then it's, as Hazel and Nihan said, you will be given some advice by Rachel, rather than some advice will be given to you. You see, because as soon as you introduce the preposition, it changes sometimes, slightly. Does that make sense? Okay, we'll try the next one. I sent him a letter. Hazel?
A letter was sent to him.
No, see, we just did the same thing that Roman did.
So then I start with him.
Yes.
He was sent a letter.
Perfect. He was sent a letter is the correct one, right? You could say a letter was sent to him. So this is why I said it was correct, Roman said, because it means the same thing, but it's a question of that preposition or not. And we're just trying to keep it the same with the two different structures, right? We're trying to keep without the preposition or with the preposition. We're going to have the preposition one next, you'll see. But for now, you're making the indirect object, which is him, the subject. He was sent a letter. If you want to make it the direct object, then you need to introduce the preposition, but that's a separate structure, which we see here. Okay? So we lent $400 to her, Inga.
$400?
No.
Where?
No.
Use she.
She is the subject now.
Yeah. Now you're making she her the subject, right? The direct object.
But can't I use as a subject $400? Because I have two objects, yeah, here, $400 and her, yeah? And I can use both to make passive.
You can. You can,
And
but
now
here
I choose $400.
Okay.
No, I just want to understand what's incorrect.
$400 were lent to her,
Yeah, varias.
I
or
think
she was lent. Yeah, I'm sorry. She was lent $400, or $400 were lent to her. Is that what you were saying, Inga?
No. I want to make a subject with $400 used as a subject.
That's okay. You can do that actually. That's $400 were lent to her. Yeah, sorry, I was wrong. That was my mistake. It's actually, you were right. $400 were lent to her. If you want to get rid of the preposition, then you say she was lent $400. Okay? So either you make the indirect object, which is to her, the subject, and then you say she was lent $400, then you're losing the preposition. But because we want to keep that, you start off with the subject, which is the direct object, because the $400 are the direct object of the verb to lend. And then you say $400 are lent to her, were lent to her, sorry. Because it's a simple past. Does that make sense? Sorry, I made a mistake on the first one.
Yes, and
both are possible. In most of these cases, both are. If there's two objects, that you can either one of them the subject. The question is if you're trying to keep the preposition or not. And we're trying to stay consistent. If there's a preposition in the example, then I want you to keep the preposition and the indirect object in the answer you give.
But in your case, when you said he was lent, yeah, he was lent 400. She was lent $400 from us. We have to say
by us.
By us. But are there some sentences where we do not use by? We use
if you want the subject of the original sentence to be made known, then you have to use by for the agent, by us. If you ignore it, then we don't know who did the lending.
I've seen some sentences passive, which concerned with.
Okay, so there's an example.
I do not remember.
Yes.
Exactly.
So he was shot with a gun, for example. He was shot with a gun.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm not sure of the technical term, but with, in this case, yeah, in certain cases, because with a gun, the gun is not the subject. It's I'm not sure what the technical term is, but it's not. You would say he was shot with a gun by Lee Harvey Oswald, for example, and that's the actual subject, right? But you shoot someone with a gun, so that's not really introducing the subject technically. I saw something about this that might help. I'm not sure what you call that, but it's not exactly a subject. That's the point.
She's back.
Yeah. So it's exactly as I described. It's not, the gun is not the subject. So you're not introducing the subject with. Someone kills someone with a gun, right? So you're still not actually introducing the subject. Does that make sense? You can be killed by a gun, and then you're acting as if the gun is a subject. But the guns don't really do killing. People use guns to kill people.
Yes.
You see what I mean? We lost Inga? I think we've lost Inga. Okay.
Oh.
Okay, let's do some more of these. Sorry, I got confused on the last one. Let's try. She told me a lie.
Okay. She told me a lie. I was told a lie by her.
Very good. I was told a lie by her. The waiter has not brought us the coffee. Roman? This one's a bit harder because of the tense. Yeah.
Yeah, yes. It's not good. Yes, I understand. It's a present perfect tense. So now we have been.
We have not.
We have not been brought the coffee by the waiter.
Excellent. Very good. Paul gave the book back to the library. Now remember, if we have an indirect object with a preposition and a direct object, I don't know if you can all see me highlighting, then to keep the preposition, you're making the direct object, not the indirect object, the subject of the passive sentence.
Okay.
So go ahead, Hazel.
The book was given back to the library by Paul.
Very good. Very good. If you wanted to get rid of the preposition and make the indirect object the subject, what would you say?
The book was given
No,
back
no, no,
to
no.
the...
If you wanted to get rid of the preposition and make the indirect object the subject.
Ah, yeah. Oh, the library to be the subject. I don't know how. The library was given back the book by Paul.
Yeah, perfect. Exactly right. The library was given the book back by Paul, or
By
given
Paul.
back the book by Paul, by the way. They were not offering her a seat. Miha? Oh, sorry, Inga, are you with us?
Yes.
Okay, you want to try this one? They were not offering her a seat. There's no preposition, so
The seat was...
no, it's not the seat.
Yes or not?
No,
Not
sorry,
seat.
it's not the seat. No.
She
Yes.
was
Say
not...
the sentence with the seat, and then you'll see why it's not the seat.
Seat was not being offered.
Yes.
Being offered
Yes.
for her by us, by them.
To her.
To her by them.
You offer something to someone, it always takes two. So the seat was not being offered to her. But we don't want the preposition here because there isn't one in the beginning sentence. So we have to start off with the indirect object becoming the subject. Right? So you're about to say it, and I'll ask you to do the seat version.
So now I have to say with she, yeah.
Yes.
She was not
Exactly like it was before. Oh no, we lost Inga again? Inga?
sorry.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know if we'd lost you. Are you still trying to do it? Oh, Ian. Nihan, do you want to give this one a go?
Okay. They were not offering her a seat. She was not being offered by a seat. No,
just a seat.
A seat by them.
Yes, very good. She was not being offered a seat by them. Very good. And then we got rid of the preposition. I promised my life to her. Roman.
My life was promised to her.
Very good. My life was promised to her. They have written her a postcard. Hazel?
She had, I don't know, with present perfect. Let me think. Has been.
Okay.
She has been written a postcard by them.
Yes. She has been written a postcard by them.
By them.
Indirect object becomes a subject if there's no preposition.
Yes.
He will have shown everything to her. It's just like the example I gave. Inga?
Again, should I use she as a subject?
No.
You tell me.
Okay, everything. Okay, I'm sorry. It's not your fault. It's my fault. I do not understand how to make it, and I'm so sorry. I will reread this
No. It is my fault. It is my fault, because I'm the teacher. So
No, it's my fault.
you will have shown everything to her. It's future perfect, right?
Yeah.
So you got the subject right? He will have shown everything. The direct object now becomes the subject. If we want to keep this phrase, to her, which is the indirect object and the preposition. So everything, and then you want future perfect to her.
Everything
Start a sentence. Yes.
will have be shown.
Been.
Will have been shown.
Will have been shown to her. Yeah.
Perfect. Everything will have been shown to her. See, you got it. You do understand it, I think. This last bit was the trickiest. It does not mean, if you don't understand it yet, it doesn't mean that you don't understand passive structures. We're just talking about slightly more complex ones where there are two objects, right? And you have to figure out which one to put at the subject. And often it means the same thing, but it just depends whether there's two different structures and two different ways of saying it. So reread that section if necessary. We don't have time, unfortunately, to do the last section, but it's very similar to the one we just did, verbs, prepositions. So have a read of that in your own time. And then that's pretty much all you need to know about passives, I think. So I'm very sorry if that last bit confused you. I'm sorry if you still feel like you don't understand it. If you want, we can do a Skype or a Facebook or something like that, where I can help you a little bit to make sure you do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the class. It's my fault. It's not your fault.
No,
sorry, guys, for my interruptions. And
Don't be silly.
sorry.
I'm going to move into my room in a second. Do you? Does everyone else feel like they understand?
I think we understood.
Yes, I think
Yes.
it was very
Yeah.
clear. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, cool. I have to run because I've got one more class now. It's a talking class, so we don't have to think about the technicalities of grammar. It's on money. We're talking about money. It's a very materialistic class, but I'm very late for it, so I have to run to that. I hope I see some of you in there. If not, have a really nice week, and I hope to see you all soon.
Thank you, Zach, for the
Thank you.
class.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.